defensive snap last night. He started 15 games in the regular season and played more defensive snaps than any other Patriot. But Eric Rowe got the start last night. Bill Belichick said the decision to sit Butler was not a discipline issue. Butler was clearly frustrated after the game, saying, "They gave up on me. Belief, it is what it is. I don't know what it was. I guess I wasn't playing good or they didn't feel comfortable. I don't know, but I could have changed that game." We are joined now by a man that was the Patriots defensive coordinator under Bill Belichick, Eric Mangini. Welcome back.
I wish you had been last night, but go ahead.
Well, it's good to have you back in LA. It's nice and warm here.
So nice.
You're enjoying that. Why do you think Belichick sat Butler last night?
To me, this is as surprising as them trading Jimmy Garoppolo when you look at it. And on face value, he had to have done something wrong, something very wrong for this to have happened. That's on face value. But when you look at his comments, when you hear his comments, it doesn't sound like a guy who's atoning for anything. No. Right. There's no softness to the way that he's playing this. And Eric Rowe not learning that he's going to start until right before the game. All those things are huge. When you coach the defensive backs, it is critical to have communication.
And you've coached just the defensive backs.
I coached the defensive backs for a long time in New England, and the volume of communication that goes into that is significant, especially when you add the pressure of the game, you add the multiple shifts, motions, formations, and you spend the whole week looking at the world one way, and then suddenly you're transferred outside. And even smaller than that, or another layer of that is the player that you're studying. If you're studying Nelson Aguilar, and then suddenly you bump back out, it's a different level of preparation.
Absolutely.
Those things are hard to not overcome, but you only want to go there if there's an injury type situation. So it's really important that Malcolm Butler gets his story out, because he's a free agent, and every team that looks at him
going to know, why didn't they start you in the Super Bowl?
You're going to want to ask that question. And it's not like he wasn't started by a guy who doesn't have a significant amount of defensive legitimacy. Right. So that story is going to have to come out, and he's going to have to explain how it could get to where it got to after playing 97.8% of the snaps during the regular season.
So basically, he played 98% of the snaps. He played the sixth most defensive back snaps of all the corners in the league. He's played the sixth.
I think that was number one on the Patriots.
Yeah, he was number one on the Patriots as far as defensive snaps. Yeah. Skip, here's the thing. Coach Belichick, as Coach Mangini said, it wasn't a disciplinary issue. So with that being said, he's going to have to take the blame for this, because we gave him credit when the starting corner was struggling against Seattle. He was struggling, and they inserted an undrafted rookie, and he made the play of the NFL playoffs postseason history.
He did.
So, and we gave him credit. Why would you do that? You know, hey, I don't get it. I don't get it. And as you mentioned, when I studied tape, you're studying one guy, and it was hard when the guy that was covering you, that you studied all week on film, he got hurt. They bring somebody else in that you didn't see. So what am I going to do now? Because I've been studying, okay, this guy I can release outside anytime I want to. Now it's going to take me a series to get used to how he's going to play me. Skip, this makes no sense to me. This makes absolutely no sense. There's no way. If Eric Rowe is that good, why wasn't he playing more during the regular season? And in this game, Coach,
well, the other thing is the one advantage Philly had is Eric Rowe was in Philly.
Yes.
So at least they did have that background of Eric Rowe if he switched out late.
Oh, we know what we got. And what did they kept doing? They kept trying to get Alshon Jeffries on Rowe.
And they did for a while until Gilmore just said, okay, I got
it. I'm following him. I'm traveling. Skip, this makes no sense to me.
Okay, I'm waiting for the other cleat to drop here. If there's more to this story, then I'm going to stand corrected by everything I'm about to say. If it was disciplinary, and one fact that we need to get out in the middle of the table, he missed the team flight on Monday. He had to fly on his own on Tuesday, reportedly because he was somehow ill, at some flu sickness.
Right.
Okay, is that why? Because Belichick made it clear this was a football decision.
Right.
Malcolm Butler, to your point, made it clear, I don't know what happened. I guess they just gave up on me. But if it were some kind of punishment, to me, with a Super Bowl on the line, given what you saw happening from the start of the game to your defense, will do what they did once upon a time to Wes Welker when he made the comment about
they didn't start him a series.
A series, okay? Or don't start him, don't play him for a quarter, or maybe even for the first half.
Right.
But then when the game is starting to tilt to an Eagles offense, you can't even begin to slow down. Put him back in the game. And to your point, NBC showed the clip, I think we have it, of the two kids, Brandon King and Jordan Richards, were arm in arm with Malcolm right before kickoff, and he's just bawling his eyes out.
Of course.
Well, is that any way to kick off a Super Bowl on your sideline? Don't you think that's a little disruptive and distracting? Because everybody's saying, what's going on here, right?
It just goes to show you, though, and everybody keeps talking about these players need to be loyal. Look at what he did.
I got it.
He jumped a route. He won the pay. Coach, you know this. He won that Super Bowl. He made that interception. And the things that he gets. Now, if you're going to tell him, if Coach Belichick told him, say, son, you're not going to play. Got no problem with that. If you want the punishment, if you deem what he did so unforgivable that you're willing to not play him for the entirety of the Super Bowl, I'm good with that. But for you, he said, now, somebody's lying. Coach Belichick says it wasn't disciplinary reasons. Malcolm Butler says he believed they gave up on him.
So, go ahead.
Well, look, they were trying to trade him before the start of the season.
Right.
They were trying to move him. This relationship doesn't seem like it's been very good
agree.
for a long time. And we don't know the layers and layers of things that could have happened during the course of the season. Right. And I will tell you that what comes out publicly versus what happens in the locker room, and you know this,
yes,
over the course of the season is a fraction. So they may have gotten to the point where they were fed up with him. Maybe the missed flight was a function of him being irresponsible. I can't say that, but
I know, I got it.
But if that was the case, they could have gone into the second week of preparation,
They could have.
moved Eric Rowe out. He could have gotten those reps. They could have told both guys it's going to go either way. You know, and that to me is a little bit more understandable if they felt like if you can't take the Super Bowl seriously enough, then we can't trust you to be in that role.
Okay, so what do we know about Malcolm Butler? To a fault, he can be a gambler and a cluer, and he takes chances that I'm sure Belichick doesn't love. But even though he doesn't have great hands as far as catching the interception, he does have ball hawk instincts you can't coach or teach. He's always around the football. He has 9 career interceptions, but more important, since 2015, he's got 55 passes defense, which is 9th in the league, which is it's pretty good. My point is, of all the guys they have in their secondary, he's the one I would most trust to make some weird, crazy, unexpected play that might flip this game.
I think what got everyone puzzled, Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, Malcolm Butler probably lined up with the starters for the entirety of the week. Because normally if you're not going to start a guy, I've been on teams where guys were going to be disciplined. They didn't start. If they weren't going to start in the game, the backup got the reps during the course of the week for a series or 2 series or however long Mike was going to discipline them on the defensive side of the football, and then the guy would go back in the ball game. He probably started for the entirety of the week with the number ones in practice because Eric Rowe says, I didn't find out until kickoff that I'm starting.
Well, that part could be true, but they could have easily gone through the second week with him not being there on Monday, with Eric Rowe taking reps with the one, and then you split the reps during the course of the week. Hey, you start this period, you start that period, and you can present that any way that you want to the group. We're building it in case someone gets injured. You can
but if I think
finesse that any way you want.
Before you go, Skip, but if I think that's the case, Malcolm Butler's not acting like this. If he knows there's a possibility he might start, he's not acting like this on the sideline. He went to that game with the sole intentions, believing Coach Belichick had said, we're going to find you, we're going to do what we're going to do, but you're going to start. He's not acting like that. If there's any potential, he might not start.
But I don't know if it's a function of just not starting. Did he know he wasn't going to play?
Correct. Okay.
To me,
correct.
not starting, if you've done something wrong and you're like, okay, I got to deal with this.
Right.
But that felt more like he knew he wasn't going to
play. Correct.
So,
correct.
my 2 cents from a distance. My 2 cents. This was a classic Bill Belichick, I'm going to polish my genius move that backfired. I believe that he saw Eric Rowe as the guy they did acquire from Philadelphia before last year. He was a 2000 for a 4th-round pick in 2018 is what they got him for, and he was once upon a time a 2nd-round pick out of Utah for the Eagles. And he's a long, tall corner. You know, he goes 6'1", 205. He's more like Cromartie. He's built like Cromartie. And I believe that Bill Belichick said, I'm going to beat the Eagles with a former Eagle. And when I do, people will sit back and say, what a genius move this was. And instead, remember, they won the toss and deferred. So you got Tom Brady on your sideline, and they gave the ball.
But they always do that.
Okay,
Skip. That's the way they do
again,
it.
if you this is just me. If I have Tom Brady versus Nick Foles, I'm going to give Tom Brady a chance to do something that they've never done in a Super Bowl. Go score with the opening drive.
Skip, I think the thing is that he felt this is what the Patriots like to do, and I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach. They normally defer. The Patriots love to score right before the half. Know they're getting the ball after the half, go right back down the field and score. That's what they did yesterday. The only kicker is that the Eagles, when they scored, the Eagles went right back down the field and got a fourth and one touchdown, and Tom Brady ran out of time because he was almost about to get in field goal range. But what had happened? They come out after half, 5 plays, 75 yards into the end zone.
And look, the value of deferring is you do get all the information from the first half. You get to see how the game's unfolding. You get to see what the matchups are. You go into the locker room, you give the quarterback that information, and then being able to come out and start the second half with momentum has real value.
Because now you get to re-script what you want to do compared to what they were playing you in the first half. But Skip, when I look at Eric Rose, Coach, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's a big, rangy, physical guy. He looks like a guy that would play great cover 2 corner if you're going to play 22-man because he has help over the top. But it seems like he struggles. He's a little stiff to me. But the thing was, because they couldn't stop the run, they couldn't play cover 2. They had to play single high safety. So now we're getting all these. And I tweeted this is not second guessing. I say minus a turnover, they can't generate enough pressure. Minus a turnover, I don't see how the Patriots stop the Eagles.
Okay, and guess what? They finished 25th in takeaways this year. 25th. So you need somebody on the field who's capable of creating something.
Good. And with LeGarrette Blount's touchdown, that was cover 2. They were showing a cover 3 shell. They played cover 2. I mean, the guy walks in. To me, looking at the whole game plan, that's confusing. Is you typically can say what New England is taking away,
right?
And after watching that game plan, you're saying what were they trying to take away? You're not taking away the running game. You saw in Jacksonville, they were going to take away the running game, and they were not going to let Blake Bortles be a runner either.
Right.
You go into this game, they weren't stopping the run. It's 8 yards in the first half. It's 6.2 at the end. They weren't disrupting the passer. It's 106 passer rating. It wasn't very good on third down. It's 10 of 15. What was the philosophy that they went into the game with in terms of we're going to force you to beat us with X?
Well, the Patriots there's a leaky organization right now as of recent, so I'm sure we'll find out what's going on. I don't know.
Something coming out, Coach.
Something's going to come out. Eric,
there's a little tension going on. I don't know if you know there's a little tension.
The refs actually hurt the Patriots last night. We'll discuss that next.